Hey y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. My name is Jason. I'm the owner of Outdoor Legacy, one of your co-hosts right here on the podcast. And as always, I've got my other co-host, been here for all 315 episodes, Mr. Hans East Texas himself. And guys, I need to apologize about something. I missed something on one of the shows a week or so ago because we record these and it comes out on Thursday, and so the timing wasn't there and I forgot about it. But Cinco de Mayo, I know we're now a couple weeks past that, but that is Hans's birthday, and I did not mention that on that show that week, and so I want to say happy belated birthday to Hans.
Thank you.
I think, what are you 30 this year? You getting big 3-0?
Yeah, you nailed it, man. You nailed it.
Nailed it.
You didn't give me the time on the show for the birthday, but you did text me on my birthday. So
I did
talk
text
to
you.
you. So
I
it's
text you. That's right.
A year.
Yeah. And by the way, he's closer to 5-0 than 3-0.
I know. Yeah. Big 46.
Yeah.
So up in the top of my screen, my daughter a year ago painted the number 45 for my birthday. I did not get one of those this year, so I didn't even get that. I didn't get a new sign from my office.
46.
No, I didn't get a 46. So,
Gosh.
yeah, so great birthday. Good to be here. Got another great show. Last week we talked about our hog baiting tricks. I couldn't spit it out. Our 3 best hog baiting tricks, and that was a good show. Enjoyed doing that. I always love talking about hog hunting and the tricks of the trade, and something that we've done for many, many years, Jason. And every time we do shows like that, people are like, man, that's awesome. I've never heard of that. I'm going to try it. And even when we hear comments or stories of success after you get out and get a chance to do it. But I'm going to let Jason introduce our topic for this week. But before we do that, get a little business out of the way. If you're interested in a night vision or thermal optic, the summertime, and this is spring going into summer, this is the best time to buy an optic, y'all. A lot of times, sales for the dealers during the summertime, everything starts to slow down a little bit because hunting season's over. It's hot. There's mosquitoes. Nobody wants to go outside. Nobody's really hunting unless you're hardcore like a lot of us are. But if you are looking for an optic, this is the best time to buy because a lot of the dealers, including Outdoor Legacy, have a lot of things in stock ready to ship out right away. So outdoorlegacygear.com, 877-350-1818. We would love to have your business. Give us a call and you can talk with one of us directly. So, Jason, what are we talking about this week?
Okay, this is a topic that I think is going to be kind of fun. We're calling it basically the 5 most underrated thermal optic features. So what are the features that are in a scope that are often underrated? Now, I want to be
or not
clear.
as talked about, or not as talked about,
not as talked about,
because everybody talks about
underrated,
people talk about resolution and micron, millical, all these things that people call about. But man, these are the things that you and I are like try to build up as, hey, you need to be paying attention to this too, Yeah,
and I think that this list here, kind of looking over these, you and I worked to come up with these, and they're very useful things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that some of these, and I want to be clear, when we say they're underrated or maybe not talked about, I think it's because we've come to the point where most scopes have this, and so it's seen as like a given. It's just there. And I would take this back to buying a pickup truck. I remember the days. I mean, Hans, I'm following right behind you in October on this big 46th birthday, and I remember hearing the ads for new cars and trucks on the radio, and seeing these in print ads and say includes an FM radio and air conditioning. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, now you don't think about that. You get in your truck and, I mean, gosh, obviously it has a radio. Obviously it has air conditioning. There's some of the specs on here, these features, I think we've kind of gotten to that point. And we sometimes forget, though, how big a deal it is. And we take for granted that there's air conditioning in the truck.
Well, my first truck didn't have air conditioning or a radio. I had to put a
Did
radio.
it really?
No,
Wow.
It didn't. I had a radio, a portable radio, what we called jam box back in the day.
Jam
But
box.
I had a Ford F-250 single cab, and I put it behind the seat. So every time I turned the radio on, I had to reach behind the seat to turn the radio on. And that is no lie.
That is awesome.
Times
That's a
were
good
hard back in the 90s, y'all. It was a tough time. Tough time to be alive.
That is hilarious. Tough time to be alive. Y'all, I dropped my pen and I've been over here fighting trying to get this thing. I can't reach it. I have no idea. So I'm not going to know where we're at. The show's going to be off the rails, and it's because I dropped my pen and Hans didn't have AC. He was deprived.
It's sad if the whole show comes to a screeching halt because you don't have a pen. That's
well, I don't want to get up and go walk over there and try to find it. I may do that when you're talking here in a minute. So anyway, guys, so I'll tell you what we're going to do. And I'm going to do this because this way we'll have to do it because I don't know if Hans likes the show idea. But I also want to do, the most overrated features. I want to do the things that are the opposite of this. And I don't know, Hans may not like that idea.
Yeah,
so he may
trying
not
to
want to
kick up a lot of controversy there.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
I know. I like that. No, but anyway, this is a great show. So Hans, why don't you get us started? And while you're talking, I'm going to go find my pen.
Go get your pen, man. I don't want you to be all flustered during the show because you can't make a check mark on a piece of paper. So we're going to run down our 5 what we say is most underrated. And my number 1 is actually my number 1 of the whole list. And it's something that I use all the time. Some of you that call in and talk to us about scopes and have questions about scopes, some of y'all ask about it, but man, this is something that I use a lot, and I'll quit stalling. It is picture-in-picture display, otherwise known as PIP. So if you don't know what picture-in-picture display is, I'll try to describe it without, well, maybe I don't know. I'll try to put a video up, but then I'm asking a lot of myself in the editing process. But I have to remember to do that. So picture-in-picture display is, you will see some thermal videos on YouTube or whatever where there's a small box at the top of the screen that is a zoomed-in image of the full screen. So you have your, let's say it's a 2-power base magnification optic, and you've got your full 2-power field of view up on your screen, and then you'll see this little box at top that's usually like double the magnification, like 4 power. So there's so many companies now that have it. I mean, Pulsar's been doing it.
Most people do, yeah.
Yeah, Pulsar's been doing it from almost day one that I can remember. AGM's got it. iRay, so many of the companies, have picture-in-picture display. It's almost like a standard thing, but a lot of people aren't talking about it as far as using it. I use picture-in-picture display a lot, especially when I'm coyote hunting. The reason being is what makes picture-in-picture so great is being able to, on that first shot, be able to take a very good, precise shot. You can see a zoomed-in image of it, but you can leave your full field of view image up. So if, let's say you're shooting at a group of hogs and you shoot one and they all start running, so you can continue to shoot with the wide field of view, but that first shot is so precise because you're using the zoomed in image. Man, I use it all the time. It's nice when a scope makes it where you can turn that feature on and off very quickly instead of having like go through the full menu. If you can just push a button and it comes on, it makes it really nice and convenient, because I am switching back and forth using it quite a bit. But picture-in-picture display is such a useful tool. And if you have a scope and you're not using it, you need to try it. Turn it on, take a shot with that first zoomed in image. I think you'll really like it. I think your videos will turn out really well. As I think it makes a great presentation if you're sharing the content of being able to do that using kind of just 2 different displays of zoomed in and wide field of view. So that's my first, man. Picture-in-picture display. Prove me wrong.
Picture-in-picture is that used to be really Pulsar was the only people.
Yeah, it was the only one. Yeah,
it is spread out from there. Mm-hmm. Most everybody has it now, and I do agree that. Let me say this to the guys that are like one and done. Okay, if you're shooting hogs at a feeder and you're going to get one shot and that's it, or there's one coyote and that is it, and you're planning on head shooting him and that's all, then you may not need it. What Hans said, I agree with. The benefit is being able to take the first shot using the picture-in-picture with the zoomed up higher magnification, but as soon as that recoil hits and your eyes blink, you can go back to the full field of view and you can see everything. Hogs running, coyotes running, whatever it is, you're not missing anything. And so I really do like that.
The other day I had 5 coyotes run in one time, And when coyotes run in, they fan out. So you got one typically in the group that's a hard charger, and they're going right for the caller. They're the aggressive one, and then you get the others that kind of fan out. Well, that first one that runs in, if you've got a real zoomed in image, the first one's fine. You can take care of him right away. But then you're trying to scan and find the others that are wider, so that when you can have that wide field of view up and still have the tight picture at the top, it makes coyote hunting easier when they're charging in if you got multiples coming in. So, man, that's just something from day one. Like you said, when Pulsar started doing it, that I use quite a bit. I don't see that many people using it that much on a lot of the YouTube content that I see. I don't know if it's one of those things that just kind of is not as popular as it was, but it's a tool that I use a lot.
So hearing all that, I've just got to ask, the one thing that really kind of got me was you talked about 5 coyotes running in. So why did we not see the tailgate of your mule with 5 coyotes and you stand in there like, come on. I mean,
believe it or not,
there's a triple, there's a quadruple. I don't even know what you call 5, but why?
5 coyotes ran in. 5 coyotes ran in. I left the field with 6. You do the math.
Yeah.
One of them was out in the woods.
And
he ran in, had a heart attack and killed her. So I actually got 6 and 5 charged in. So I don't know. It just works out that way sometimes, I'm just a modest man out here trying to do a job.
Yeah, I set you up for that and had no clue.
You did. You did.
You win. All right, moving along, number 2. Gosh, got to get this train back on the tracks. This is one that not all scopes have, and a lot of people ask about it, and this would not be something that would cause me to, not purchase a scope, but I do think when it's there, it's a nice feature, and that's standby mode, which is a simple way of, the scope is on, it's running, it's ready to go. Normally you can like press a button, maybe it's the power button, maybe it's 2 buttons or something. And what happens is it turns your screen off. A lot of times it will, depending on the brand, there may be like a little screensaver looking thing on there, real dim, something that you kind of know it's on. Some scopes there's not, the screen's just off. And, but what the benefit of this is let's say that you're walking across the field. This is, to me, probably more important if you're hog hunting, and maybe you're spotting and stalking and you see these hogs and you're trying to get closer. And, if you've done much spotting and stalking on hogs, you know how this is. You get close and you stop and you look. If you got a binocular, use your binocular, use your scope, and you see how far they are. And then you weigh your decision, like, can I get closer? And then you got to ease closer and you look again, and you just, I don't know, maybe not everybody does this. I know Hans and I do. We just get as close as we think we can get and not scare them off. I mean, we get ridiculously close sometimes. And so you're walking, you're looking, you're walking. Well, what you don't want is you don't want that scope on. And the reason I say it's important is because you may get to that point and be like, oh gosh, listen, they got my wind. Something's not right. I got to take the shot. So you want your scope on in that situation. Well, what you don't want is if you're carrying your rifle, especially like an AR, you're carrying a crossbody, your scope is right here across your chest. And if that display screen is on, you've got light hitting you right here in the chin. I'll be honest, I don't really think you're going to scare the hogs off that. I mean, it's possible. You got to be really close. Those screens aren't that bright, but it annoys me. I don't like having that little bit of light coming up underneath my face while I'm trying to walk. And it's, again, I can do it. It's just an annoyance. A lot of scopes, if they don't have it, I just take my hand and I kind of lay it over that eyepiece. But it's nice to have. Hans, what were you going to say?
Yeah, think about down here in Texas. That light on that screen it attracts flies like crazy.
Bugs and gnats.
It attracts. You got flies flying all around your body and your face. Yeah, you're exactly right. You just don't want that light on.
No, you don't. So it's nice with scopes that have that to be able to, again, the scope's still on. Quickly press a button. I mean, like press the button instantly. The screen's back up. You're ready to go shooting. So I do like that feature. I don't know for coyote hunting. Normally you're not spotting and stalking, so it's not quite as big a deal. But I know a lot of guys, especially if they're trying to conserve energy in their scope, battery power. If they're set up on a tripod, calling coyotes, they may have it in standby mode just to have that display screen off. Not only is there no light, but there's also, again, maybe saving a little bit of battery power. So it's a nice feature. Again, I don't think it's a make or break, but I do like having it. And, I think that it is on more scopes than it used to be, but it's a pretty cool feature that I like having. So,
Yep. All right. I concur, sir. That rhymes.
Good.
Man. So what I would say my second most underrated thermal feature and the third on the list is going to be multiple rifle profiles. And when you say that, that's being able to set up a scope on different, obviously from what the name sounds, you're being able to zero that scope or set up a profile on many different rifles. Now, the number of profiles that a scope has really depends on the brand. So, some have, 3, 4, 5, different profiles. But basically what you can do is it's not just about setting up a zero. You can set up, a lot of times you can set up, let's just say rifle profile A is set up on my 6.5 Creedmoor. Well, I can have it where it's got a certain reticle color. I mean, there's a lot of different, a certain screen preference with the brightness and I mean, there's a lot of different in some of these scopes, not all of them, but some of them.
Not all.
You can set up that much detail in each profile. So being able to zero it on one rifle, and then, hey, I got this rifle profile A set up on my Creedmoor. The next one I want to set up is my Grendel, so I can set up rifle profile B to have a zero on another rifle. So, what I will say is that, again, I think pretty much all of these scopes now have multiple rifle profiles, but being able to do that now, to do that, you've got to have a very good quick release mount. And that's going to be key to the whole thing, is being able to take that on and off with that quick release mount, a locking mount, so that it will return to zero every time. But I really love, having that multiple rifle profile set up, because I do use a lot of different rifles. I hate zeroing scopes more than I hate taking out the trash. How about that? And I hate taking out the trash. Taking out is like my thing that I hate. But yeah, zeroing scopes is not very fun. But having that set up and being able to switch and do it just by a couple presses of a button to go back to your favorite rifle. So many of you guys these days, and us included, are using a lot of different rifles. One day we're using an AR style 223. The other day we're feeling nostalgic and we're going to use our grandpa's 243 bolt action. Whatever you want to do and whatever you want to set it up on. It's nice to be able to have a piece of technology, a scope that can do that. And that's what makes the digital scopes, the digital thermal optic scopes, so great. You can't do that with an optic, a daytime regular optic. Setting up all these different zeros on all this stuff. That's what the good side of technology, Jason. Wouldn't you agree?
That's right. No, I agree. I do think it's really nice. I don't change my rifles around that much, but I know a lot of guys who do, and I completely understand that. So it is nice. I do think sometimes you can go overboard. I think you can be.
I've got 3 rifles within arm's reach. I got right now a scope on a 6.5 Grendel pistol. I've got my 243 chassis rifle with a 20-inch 243 barrel on it right here to the right of me. And behind me, I got a 17 HMR bolt action. I mean, so yeah, I'm always, I like change every now and then. And sometimes I get tired of shooting the short Grendel. I want to take out the long bolt action and, do something with that. But I'm always changing them back and forth. I can never keep my mind made up. And that's the way I live my life pretty much. But that's neither here nor there.
I do think that it's a really cool feature. Again, that is something that pretty much all the scopes are going to have now. And I do like, but you said something I was thinking the whole time. The key here is having a high quality
Yeah.
return to zero, quick detach
100%.
mount that you can put full faith in. And I know a lot of guys are going to ask this question because they ask us, oh, hey, will that thing really return to zero? Here's my answer. If properly used, yes. Okay. But I can't promise you're going to properly use it. I don't know. I'm not there with you holding your hand and you go, well, what's that mean? And I don't want to get into all that here, but it's basically properly tensioning the mount. It means that there's no variance between your different rifle Picatinny rails. It means that you're putting it in the exact same Picatinny slot. There's some steps here. There's some things that have to fall into place. And I always tell guys, listen, what you need to do is you need to test this for yourself. You need to prove it to yourself. I'm going down a rabbit trail here. But this is something Hans has always made a big deal of. He's talked about this on other shows, and it's having confidence in yourself and your equipment. And if you don't have that confidence, when you get ready to put your finger on that trigger, it can cause you to miss. It can
Messes
cause,
your
which if
brain.
you're not confident. And so you got to have confidence in your scope and switching it around. Anyway, I digress. We'll move on, get off that rabbit trail. Number 4, this is what I was thinking of when I was talking about the air conditioning and the FM radio. Okay. Every thermal, I'm going to say this right here, Hans, and if I'm wrong, please tell me. Every single thermal rifle scope we sell at Outdoor Legacy has a not just USB, a USB-C power port for powering the scope. Does anybody not have USB-C
Oh my
today?
God. I don't know, but make
No,
statements
they
like
don't.
that make me nervous.
No,
Gosh,
I know they
I
don't.
think
I'm listen. I know for a fact that Pulsar, AGM,
Pulsar went to
Rix,
USB-C.
yep,
So they're
IRA,
USB-C. Yeah, I think.
yeah, Envision,
Rix.
everybody's USB-C.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, everybody's
If
USB-C now. Yeah.
now it wasn't that way a few years ago.
Right.
Because I was digging through a box of some cables and stuff, and had them labeled, and it was like
Yeah.
all these, and there was all kinds of cables, and they were not USB-C.
Well,
Some were, some weren't.
when Pulsar, I think, if you correct me when Pulsar discontinued the Helions, that was the end of that Type A cord,
correct.
right?
Micro or Type A or whatever
Yeah,
they called
whatever,
it.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
correct, because even the original Thermion and Thermion, I don't know about the twos, but I know the original Thermion. Anyway, doesn't matter. So here's the point. The point is, I do think this is an underrated feature for two things. Some scopes, like the Thermion, just because we're talking about it, will allow you to not only plug it in, but charge the battery that way. And maybe the Thermion's not a good example because it's got an internal battery. So obviously, but there are other scopes that you can plug in and charge the battery that way. So that's nice. Some scopes, you maybe can't do that. But the really good thing is for guys, especially, I don't think this is a big deal down south, but up north, cold weather, out west. And it's this idea of, man, we may be out there hunting in negative, degrees, negative numbers, and that chews on these batteries. And what if we run out of battery? Everybody knows that a little, battery pack that's, the size of a deck of cards that'll fit in your pockets you can get for 20, 30, 40 bucks is got so much power in it, and it will run one of these scopes for hours and hours and hours. Some of those batteries, I know down here, you can run them for 20, 30 hours off one of those in normal temperatures. So even up north, getting 8 or 10 hours on one of those batteries is nothing, and they're cheap. And it's a backup. To me, that's a spare gas can. So maybe you're getting ready to go hunting. Everybody's excited. Everybody's meeting up at your house. You grab your scope out of the gun safe and you go, oh my gosh, I left this thing on. The battery's dead. I only got one spare. And you just panic sets in. Well, in the old days, sorry, guess you're not going hunting tonight. But now with this, USB, whether it's USB-C or not, USB, you can again plug in one of these external battery packs and hunt all night. So again, I know that it is important to a lot of guys up north, but I encourage guys, even down here, if you are going on a big hunt, you're driving to go on a hunt or you paid for a hunt, take a USB battery pack. They're so cheap. Throw
Oh,
it in
yeah.
your bag. That way, just in case something happens, you're not sitting over there back at the camp house, or in your truck with the thing plugged in, watching it going, come on, charge, charge, charge. I mean, you can at least
Yeah.
go hunting. And I will say, back to the USB-C, I don't know how this happened, but I want to say kudos to every manufacturer that's using USB-C. Everybody is on the exact same,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call that, cord plug, and that is unbelievable. I didn't
Yeah.
think we could all agree on anything. That is so
Yeah.
great to have one cord there that I can just, doesn't matter what scope, I can plug that thing right in. Really, really like
Hmm.
that. So anyway, again, I know that seems minor, but I think for like a spare gas can, or carrying those little the battery jumper box in your
Yeah.
truck, I think it's absolutely phenomenal to have that there. You can keep your battery with you, and no matter what, you can be good to go.
Yeah, and all these vehicles now you can charge the scopes, from stand to stand, in between stands. Just
Yep.
plug it into the little USB port in
Yep.
your trucks, and get a little bit of juice on the next drive to the next spot. It does make it very convenient, and the USB C is great. And my cell phone is now Apple's are now USB
Oh,
C. It's a
you got a
great.
newer one than me.
I
When did that
did,
start? The
yeah, I
15s or
did.
something?
Yeah, this is the 15. So you get the 14, right? Yeah,
Or
you
13 or something?
you
14?
bought,
Yeah, I think
yeah, you
so.
bought the
Yeah.
14. You got it a week
Okay.
before the 15s came out. You just if you
Well,
could
that's
have
the
just
story of my
been
life.
waited one more week, man. Waited one more
Hey,
week.
that's what guys say about thermal scopes, but you know
Yeah,
what? I'm happy with my phone. So
yeah. It rings when somebody calls. That's all that
that's
matters.
right. I'm happy. I'm happy.
So the last one on the list, and something that I struggle with a little bit, multiple reticle colors. Now you
Yeah.
might say, well, wouldn't multiple reticles be a smarter choice for this list? I think that's a common thing that people ask about. We're
Yeah.
trying to do something that's underrated. And for me, it's reticle colors. And I have seen and noticed the companies are starting to expand the colors of reticles a lot. And that's very important. I'll say this, there are some colors that don't work for me at all. And I'll tell you, when you ask 10 people what their favorite reticle color is, you're going to get probably 5 different answers. I mean, because everybody's eye sometimes likes something a little bit different. For me, I really like, my first choice is like a green or a yellow. Some of the reds and some of them have blue. Man, those just don't work for me. I don't see them very well. But the yellows, when the yellow came out from Pulsar, it was like hallelujah, man. I can see. And when iRay and AGM added green, I was like, hallelujah, man, this is fantastic. Because it just so much of a contrast. But there are other guys out there that like, oh man, I love red, or I just like, a white reticle when I'm on black hot, or, that contrast works well for me, or whatever. But man, I love to see more reticle color options for those of us that are either colorblind or slightly colorblind, or
Well,
it,
yeah,
it, it just it, yeah.
I think you said it though. Everybody's eyes are a little bit different. So neither one of us are colorblind, but we do have preferences on this. And I
Hmm.
do. And you and I remember the day there was no such thing as color displays. So there were no color palettes, there were no color reticles. It was black and white,
Hmm.
everything. There, I mean, that's
Hmm.
just period. That's all you had on the display.
Right.
So, like you said, if you were hunting in black hot, you had a white reticle, black reticle on white hot. Anyway, now we've moved past that, and everybody, most everybody, has color displays because they have different color palettes. And, again, color palettes besides white hot and black hot, which it's funny. You know what? No, I'm not going to say anything because I think I just thought of something else for another show. So I'm not going to say it and ruin it here.
Okay.
But I'm going to make a note right here. Man, I'm good. Okay. See there? That's inspiration, guys. I'm coming up with other shows. So,
Is your
so
arm long enough to pat yourself on the back? Let's
yeah,
just say
I
that.
wish it was. I wish
Yeah.
it was. No, but anyway, I do agree. It's funny though. Just what you said is different than what I would say. I don't really like I'm talking about the pulsar. I don't like the yellow. They're blue. It says it's blue. In my eyes, it looks purple, like a light
Mm-hmm.
purple, but
It
I love
does.
it. That's my
Yeah.
favorite.
Oh,
I love
really?
that. I like their light green. Well, it's green, but it's
Yeah.
light.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Green in some scopes, if the reticle is thick and it's a really bright green, it's too bright for me. But on others, I like the green. So it really does. I like being able to play with them and go
Mm-hmm.
through there. And at the very least, most everybody now at least has black, white, red, and green.
Mm-hmm.
And red's a little overpowering for me most of the time. But I do agree with you. I think it's something that doesn't get talked about enough in these different optics. And again, you can make it work. We all did it when it was nothing but black and white. But I do think having an option is really good for a lot of people because everybody's eyes are a little bit different. So, all right, guys, listen. This is the list here. I'm sure you can think of other things that could go on this list. Maybe one day down the road we'll have a part two to this and come up with some more features. I do think that I think there's going to be things if we redid this show in 2 or 3 years, it's going to be another list of things that we've taken for granted that are new features and that like almost every scope's got this now and we don't
Mm-hmm.
even talk about it anymore. I think that's going to continue as the technology improves and gets more affordable as we go down the road. I do think that just looking at this real quickly here, everything on this list, picture in picture, standby mode, multiple zero profiles for different rifles, the USB charging and power, multiple reticle colors. I would say that we could go back. I'm going to go a little far to be safe. I'm going to say 6 or 7 years ago, might only have been 5, but I'm going to say 6 or 7 years ago, there were very, very few scopes on the market that had any of these features, and probably not many scopes that had more than one or two of them. Maybe three. I don't know, but what I'm getting at is how quickly it's
Mm-hmm.
changed,
Yeah.
and as these features start coming in, the market, one manufacturer does it,
Mm-hmm.
and the next manufacturer is like, man, people kind of like that. Maybe we need to do it, and that's competition, and that is actually what's good for the market until you get to the point where everybody gets an FM radio and air conditioning. Everybody's getting
Yeah.
picture in picture and USB, and you don't even think about it. So anyway, I do like it. I think those are a good list of things that I like having in almost all the scopes now.
And this is our 5 most underrated thermal optic features. Yes, if you can think of any others, drop it in the comment section on the YouTube video. We'd love to hear yours and what you feel like is something that a lot of people aren't talking about that you use a lot, and maybe it'll make it into the next show. We've got more topics about this, whether it be underrated features, overrated features. We've got more content surrounding your optic choices and how to do that better. So if you're looking for a brand new thermal or night vision scope, and you just need a little bit of a guidance, need a little bit of assistance, you're kind of overwhelmed. A lot of people say that they watch our videos and they're even more confused than before they watched them. And that's okay, because we're here to help. You can call and talk to us directly, 877-350-1818. You can find all of our optics online, outdoorlegacygear.com. If you want to find more Late Night Vision Show episodes, thelatenightvision.show.com, our website, you can go and find all of our past episodes. You can do a quick search on YouTube. If you're looking for a scope review, there's a good chance that we've done it. So just go to YouTube, type in The Late Night Vision Show and the scope that you're wanting to get information on, and more than likely a review will pop up. And we appreciate you joining us. If you want to see other reviews and other content, you can check out my YouTube channel. It's Hans ETX, Hans ETX. We're also, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere else. Whether you type in The Late Night Vision Show or Outdoor Legacy or Hans ETX, you can find us on all the socials. And as always, we appreciate it when you leave good comments, positive comments, any type of interaction that we can get back from you to highlight the show, whether it be on iTunes with, giving us thumbs ups and all that kind of stuff, but sharing our content really is the best way for us to grow. And we really appreciate it. Look forward to bringing you on another episode next week.
All right, guys, if y'all have got suggestions for topics, the things you want to know about, as always, leave those in the comments here on YouTube. You can send us an email or leave a comment on Facebook, whatever. But we are open to those suggestions. We've got summer coming, so there's going to be a lot of topic shows this summer. Hans and I have already got a big list working of things. A lot of these are coming from your suggestions. We want to talk about what you want to hear about, so feel free to leave those suggestions down there, guys. Hope to see y'all again here next Thursday. But between now and then, y'all can't even say it. Y'all stay safe in the fields.